Hey everyone, welcome to Girls Night with Sam and Kate. I'm Sam.
I'm Kate.
Okay, today we want to talk about just like favorite trips slash vacations slash funny stories that have happened
Yes.
on those. Okay,
Travel experiences.
travel experiences. Do you have any that you can think of off the bat?
So there was one time me and Kyle, when we were first married, we wanted to we both are like big, want to travel the world people.
Yeah.
But we were broke. Still are.
It's like, how do you do it on a dime?
Venmo is. No, but we went on like little road trips a lot. We had a little RAV4, which
okay.
I'm still so sad we don't fit into anymore. When I'm an old lady, I'm getting a RAV4 again. But we would get in the RAV and we'd drive. And one weekend we went to Yellowstone. We had a 3-day weekend, and we're like, let's just drive up and drive through. And I'd never been, and I don't remember it. Kyle had maybe been like once. And so we drove up there, and we're driving just through the park. And we were like, we'll just stop when we see things we want to stop at. We didn't really make a plan. And so we were driving through this canyon, and traffic stops. We're like, oh, this is weird. And then like little bears cross the road. We're like, that was so cool. We're like the fourth car back. We saw a mama bear with 2 baby bears. Like, so cool. Okay, if traffic stops, like it'll just be a few minutes. 10 minutes down the road, traffic is dead. Like, no one's moving. And we're like, what is going on? 3 hours. There was like a herd of bison that they were moving through the canyon.
Oh.
And so we're just sitting in traffic. So Kyle like puts the car in park. I get in the back of the car. I'm like making sandwiches for lunch. Like, thank goodness we packed food because we were both hangry.
Yeah.
But it was just so funny. We're just chilling, and it's freezing outside. We're like, we're not getting out for anything. We're in the middle of nothing.
No.
And so it was just so funny because like we look back and we both like laugh about it now. But Kyle was so annoyed. He was like, he hates traffic. He hates sitting in like, you could see the end of the canyon, and like we couldn't go there because there's just hundreds of bison, and we didn't know why. But like we didn't know until we got through it, made our next stop, and we asked like a park ranger, like, what the heck happened? Like, did someone die?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, a herd of bison. That's pretty common. And we're like, for 3 hours? And they're like, you guys must have been right at the front.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, all right.
How funny. What a fun memory.
Yeah.
One that came to my mind was right after, that's a little echoey. Okay. Right after we got married. It was probably about a year or so after we got married. Mm-hmm. My best companion, Annie, got married in Oregon. And we went up there for her wedding, and we got there like a day early, and somebody that we both knew, like ish, I knew a little bit from our missions. He was like an older guy with his wife, and they were like, to Brenton and I, they were like, do you want to come whitewater rafting with us tomorrow before the reception? And we were like, okay, sure. Like, I didn't have a swimsuit or anything because we were going for a wedding, and so I just wore like a sundress with like bike shorts under it or something, and whatever Brenton wore, whatever. No, I wore I wore leggings, and I wanted to get tan, as I do, and so I pulled them up above my knees, and it was Oregon, so it wasn't hot, so I didn't wear sunscreen, and my face was so burned, which is like, whatever, I got sunburned. The worst part was the sun hit right like above my knees so bad that it blistered.
No
and
way.
So I'm just like walking around at the reception with like nasty blisters just like right above my knees because we didn't sunscreen. But it was so fun. Have you ever been whitewater rafting?
Yeah, once.
Where at?
At like a youth.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was kind of whitewater.
Yeah.
Not really.
Not crazy. I mean, it wasn't crazy enough for us to wear like helmets or anything.
Yeah, no, I've never done it with helmets. I want to. I think it sounds so fun. But I don't know that I have the arm strength for it.
Yeah. I feel like we tip the tube over, or the raft over a lot with that.
Need a guide.
Yes, I know.
Helping us.
But that was fun. Okay, what's another?
Let's see. One time, the sunburn story reminded me. Me and Carl went to New Mexico to see some friends one time, Molly Valiant, and we drove to Las Cruces, which is right by the border. We did a lot of fun things. We went to White Sands National Park.
Oh, I've never been. I wanted to when we were down there.
Beautiful. Was it? So worth it. It was so fun. But a few things happened that day. So we drive out there. We didn't realize how far away it was. And so we get there, and I put sunscreen on Kyle's back, and then we just go out for the day. Kyle gets super sunburned, but he has like this like mark on his back of like a squiggle line of like where I'd done sunscreen.
Oh,
Like I
uh-huh.
didn't rub it in and I was too close, and so it just did like that line. It was so bad. And so like his back was hurting when we got back in the car.
Except for
And
the
I
line.
I took a picture and he was like, "You are never allowed to do sunscreen again. This is awful." And I was like, "My back is smaller. Like I can just."
Mm-hmm.
And then we're driving back and we're like, no cell reception. We're in the middle of nowhere. If you've been to White Sands, you know, like you drive 45 minutes in the like no cell reception, like nothing. And then you hit like a little tiny gas station and then like 20 more minutes is a town.
Yeah.
We are like, I want to say 30 miles from the gas station and we are out of gas. Like our lights on and it's like
Okay.
0.
Uh-huh.
And we're like, oh my gosh, we hope there's at least enough in the reserve because you usually have like a
Right.
little.
Yeah.
And so we start going and we're like, and then we have to go up a hill. And we're like, oh my gosh, we're going to run out of gas. And so our friend, she calls the gas station and asks them, like, is there any way like you could send someone? It's close. And they're like, no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
And she was like, dang it. And they're
That's a
like,
good idea.
yeah. And then they're like, you need to call your insurance company. They have like roadside assistance. And she was like, oh, all right. So I call roadside assistance, but it's going in and out of service.
Yeah.
And so like it keeps hanging up. So they text me and they're like, if we don't get a response in 30 minutes, like we're just canceling this because we don't know what you need. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like if we break down and we're not in a cell service spot, we're gonna have to like walk like 20 miles, you know, like not
Yeah.
really, but the boys will have to figure something out. And so we make it to the gas station, we pull in and you can feel it go at the gas station pump. And I
Yeah.
was like, I have no idea how we made it. But then our friend Molly, she walks into the gas station and she opens the door. She's like, "We made it!" And
And
everyone like, looks at her, "Who are you?"
That's so funny.
It was so funny. She goes
She's
back.
like,
She's
I was
like,
on the phone with you. Don't you remember?
yeah, it was so funny. And we also floated the Rio Grande.
Oh,
And
fun.
so
Yeah.
that was the last day we were there, and we both got sunburned. And like the drive home, I was the tops of my thighs and my belly. My belly's never been sunburned because I never wear a bikini, but I wore one to get tan because we were like
Yeah.
floating down this river, and so yeah, my stomach peeled like 3 days later.
That initial burn is a
Ugh.
burn like no other.
The amount of dead skin in my belly button.
Oh my gosh.
What? Like I didn't know that was a
That's
thing.
funny.
Gross. Anyway.
One that I thought of was when we were moving out here, the gas station story reminded me. We were driving from Arizona to South Carolina. I was like, where
Yeah.
are we?
How long is
And
that drive?
it was like 27 hours.
Oh my gosh.
I think, yeah. So my mom was an angel and came. She drove with me, and Brenton drove. I was pulling a trailer, and Brenton drove a U-Haul. No, it was a budget truck. Anyways,
Oh,
that's
that was said with like disdain.
We picked up the budget truck in Arizona, and the check engine light came on.
What?
And we called them because we had to be here like in a certain amount of time for
Right.
Brenton to start his job. And so we called Budget as we were leaving, and they're like, "It's our only truck. Take it or leave it."
Oh my gosh.
And so they were like, "You can call the maintenance man, and he might come out and fix it."
might.
Yeah. And so we get to my parents to load up everything because that's where our storage shed was while we were travel nursing. And I call the Budget people, and he's like, "Oh, it's just a check engine light. It happens all the time. Don't worry about it."
We're
And I
driving
was
cross
like-
country.
I was like, "I have 4 kids. We have to drive through Texas for like 100 hours before we get
Yeah.
anywhere. Like, what if it happens?" And he was like, "If it happens, someone will come out and fix it." And I was like, okay.
Thanks.
So Brenton drove the whole 27 hours out here on the Budget truck with the check engine light on. But I guess it happens all the time. It was so janky. It was like duct taped together. But
no way.
it's like, it's what we paid for.
yeah.
But we
Legit
were
budget.
yeah, on a budget.
That's so funny.
We drove the like 15 hours the first day from Tucson to Dallas, and then we were driving from Dallas to some town in like Mississippi, I want to say, or Alabama. I think it was Mississippi. But we get to the gas station, and we're like, get done. Everyone goes to the bathroom, and we come back out, and Brenton's like, "I locked my keys in the car."
Oh my gosh.
In the Budget truck.
In the budget
And
truck.
so he's out there, like, my mom and him are trying to do it, get it done, whatever. And I call the people, and they're like, "Oh, it'll be a couple hours before we can come and help
Oh my
you."
gosh.
It's like, "Thanks, Budget." And so then we go into the gas station, and the gas station had a kit
To like break into the car.
yeah, to get your keys out. And so it took my mom and Brenton probably 2 hours to get it done, but they got it
Probably
done.
still quicker than the maintenance team,
Yes.
right?
Oh my gosh.
That is so funny.
It was so sketchy though. It was some like little dinky town in
Okay.
Mississippi, and
Fun fact: police officers usually have those too.
oh, do they? I should have just called 911.
Or like the non-emergency
Yes.
line, yeah. But
Okay.
my when my dad was living in Cedar, I went one time with my siblings to visit him,
Uh-huh.
and his girlfriend took us grocery shopping because whenever we went, it was like we had to get groceries, right? 2 to 7 people in a
Right.
house. Her car did this weird thing where it locked every time you closed the door. And so we put all the groceries in, and it was running. And I closed the back door not knowing this because I never went up there with them. And it locked. And I want to say my youngest brother was in there asleep.
Oh, okay.
No, he wasn't in there, but the car was running, and then the groceries were all in the back. And so we were actually right next to a police station. And so she ran over there and was like, my keys are locked in my car, but it's running. What can I do? And they're like, oh, like we always have these kits.
Oh, that's
we can come
funny.
help you. So now I'm like, oh, if I ever get my keys locked in the car, like I know what to do.
Yeah.
And Kyle always says, he's like, one of our kids is in the car and can't unlock the door. I'm breaking the window. We'll deal with it later. And I'm like, that's fair. But if no one's in the car, we could just call the emergency. Right. He always thinks so worst case scenario.
He's prepared. He's preparing himself. That's funny. Anyway. Okay, what other?
Do you have another trip? I want to talk about this a little bit. The first trip you take with the kid after you have a baby.
Yes.
Your first time you travel.
Uh-huh.
After having a baby for the first time. It's like weird, right? I personally was like, I have to go somewhere new with a baby.
Like everything that you have to pack that goes
everything
along
you have
with
to pack, and like my mind, I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. I'm like, what do I do with them? Like, it was stupid, but like, I couldn't, like, I'm like, we're going on vacation. Like, everything I want to do on vacation, I can't do with the baby. Like, we can't get in the hot tub.
Yeah.
We can't go swimming. Like, well, it was also December. But, like, it was just, like, all these things. It was funny. I was like, can he be out in the cold? Like, can we go walk down this main street? Like,
that's
if
funny.
we want to go eat. And, like, I in my mind, like, I hadn't really left the house. My first baby.
Yeah.
I felt really stupid, like, thinking this way. And so, like, I didn't tell Kyle how I was feeling. But when I packed, he was like, we're only going for 2 days. And I was like, well, is this too much? And he's like, I honestly don't know.
Like, what if it's too cold? What if it's too hot?
We went to Telluride, Colorado for the first time. We've always wanted to go, and it was our anniversary. And Declan was like 6 weeks old. We're like, that'll be so fun to go. It'll be snowy.
Yeah.
And I, again, was very nervous about taking Declan, and I'm such an idiot. Oh my gosh. Okay. For those of you on YouTube, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Those on Spotify, I'm going to do my best to explain this. When you drive to Telluride, you get to the base of the mountain, and then the road goes around it both ways. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And one side is Telluride, and the other side is another city. But the city name is like a tribal name, like Kayenta or something like that. And there's also like Kayenta Ruins or something. I don't know if that's the right name. Okay, don't come at me. But there's this similar name to something in Telluride, and then the name of that city.
Okay.
We had not booked a hotel yet, so while we were driving, Kyle said, go ahead and do it. But when he handed it to me, Declan started crying.
Okay.
And so my mind is in two places. Mm-hmm. I booked a hotel on the wrong side of the mountain. Non-refundable. So we get up into Telluride. We didn't put in the address to the hotel. We put in the address to Telluride. We wanted to see it.
Oh,
and it was kind of late at night. Uh-huh. And when we hit the base of the mountain, Declan starts crying again because he's hungry.
Right.
It's been 2 hours, right? Like, he's 6 weeks old. He wants to eat. And I was not breastfeeding. I was bottle feeding because I wasn't able to produce because I had, like, infections and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, crazy story. I'll talk about that later.
I'm like, breastfeeding is a whole different episode.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we get up to Telluride. It's like 8 o'clock. Everything's closed. Declan's screaming his head off. We want to, like, get in our hotel. Actually, I think it was more like 9 o'clock. Like, it was late. And so we're like, okay, let's put in the directions to the hotel. We put them in, and it says it's an hour away. And I was like...
I would have been so, like, oh.
I started crying.
Yeah.
Kyle was...
Well, the hormones are already...
Kyle was, like, kind of upset, and then he, like, realized, like, okay, like, I know, it's fine. Like, he didn't, like... He felt bad. He was like, I didn't want to be upset, but, like, I'm hungry. Like, we hadn't eaten dinner.
Mm-hmm. Me
and him. And so, like, it was this whole thing. So we drive back around... And then when we get to the base of the mountain, we're looking for food. The only thing open is, like, a freaking Dollar General. So we get, like, Lunchables for dinner.
But that's fun.
It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
And then the hotel calls us. And they're like, hey, you guys have to check in the next half hour because our front desk closes. Are you guys on your way? And we're like, yeah, like we're at the base of the mountain. We went to Telluride back. So like, oh, no problem. Like we can wait for you guys. And we're like,
Oh,
oh, thank
okay.
goodness. Like this anxiety sits, and I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like what do I do? I
I'm
have to
gonna
book
sleep
another
in the
hotel.
car.
Yeah, with my 6-week-old baby. Like before, this wouldn't have been an issue, but
Yeah.
now this added responsibility.
Yeah.
And so we finally get up to the hotel, get checked in, and we get in our room. And I just brought like a co-sleeper bed,
Yeah.
like the Dream on Me things, but like a cheaper one that was flat.
Right.
And the bed that we got, I didn't not look at the room. It was a kind of, I think it was like a full size bed. I think it was small. So like there wasn't room for Declan to sleep in that on the bed with us. And I was like, I don't want to just put him on the floor. Like I felt like this awful
Did you make
mom.
Kyle sleep on the floor?
No.
Oh, I thought that's where this was going.
No, I mean that was debated, but it was so funny what we ended up doing. There was this wardrobe, like Chronicles of Narnia wardrobe. It was huge. And his co-sleeper fit right in it, like in there. And there's nothing in there. It's just empty. Like there was a hanger. And so we just put it there and like closed the door like a little bit, like left it cracked open because then it's kind of dark and we can like see him. But then we watched TV and there's like a hot tub on our balcony. And
oh wow, that's fun.
It was so fun, but like we stayed up way too late because we got there so late. But it's so funny. We're like, yeah, we put our kid in the closet. You know what I mean? Like, and I was just like so mad at myself because I'm like, I made all of these mistakes and then my kid had to sleep in the closet. And like
when we were travel nursing, there's so many times the pack and plays just fit in the closet and that was it.
I don't feel bad at all now.
No.
But at the time I was like,
I'm a bad mom. So I thought of two, and I'll just I keep thinking of so many as you tell stories. Traveling is just so fun. But okay,
we don't have to keep it short. We can just trim out what we don't like later.
So one that I thought of was, so after Capri was born, my sister sent like this giveaway that she found to stay in an Airstream. Oh. And so she was like, everyone put in, and so I put in for it, and we won.
Oh no way.
But it was at Lake Powell.
Oh, that's
just
fun.
Like on the lake. They had like an Airstream set up. And it was so fun. So that was just like a fun memory of like going. Okay, and then the other one that I thought of was kind of more of like a gross story. I think I've told you this before. So when we were traveling, when you travel across the country, we keep like a training potty.
Yeah, like the little
in the car.
Kidda ones.
Yeah, so that when we're driving 15 hours, they can just go real quick and go buckle up. Well, whatever. It was fine. Okay, and so one of my kids went, and we're driving down the freeway, and I was like, I need to pour this out before it spills all over the floor.
Yeah.
And so I roll down the window.
Oh no.
And I pour it out. It does not go out. It comes and just comes back all over me. It was disgusting.
One or two?
It was just one.
Just one. Okay.
But it was like, well, there's the pee, and here it is. It just ended up back all over my body, and I just was like, okay, here's wipies. Like, oh, so gross.
Showered at the hotel.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I just always laugh about that, trying to pour the pee out, and
so
there it is.
My sister-in-law does this as well, and she told me she puts a pull-up in it.
Oh, that is smart.
Just she doesn't want everything. She doesn't want to clean a number 2 out of there.
Yeah.
And so, like, they'll pull over and, like, let their kids go or whatever, and then she just, like, takes the pull-up or diaper once it's full and gets rid of it.
Yeah, that won't end up back on you, will it?
No. So I mean, they are still kids. Who knows?
Yeah. The other one I thought of was when Britton and I were engaged, we flew Allegiant from Arizona to Utah for, like, my mission reunion.
Nice.
And if anybody knows Allegiant, it's a gamble. Yeah. And so that time we were trying to fly back to Arizona, and we were in the little dinky Provo airport for a long time, and then they were like, oh, they kept postponing it, and they're like, here's snacks, and postpone it again. And finally they were like, our crew is timed out. Like, you guys, we'll get you hotels, but we're not going home.
Oh my gosh.
And so we got a hotel, and 2 beds. It was fine. And anyways, we were so hungry. We had to take a cab from the airport to the hotel. And then we were too cheap. We were in college. We were like, we're not paying to go out anywhere. Yeah. But there was a Walmart down the road, that like sketchy highway road that we like. I just remember like crossing the highway And then you know how there's like the embankments to
Yeah.
like go. We like jumped the little fit railing and
Oh
went
my
down the
gosh.
embankments. And the only thing that they had was like, you know, Walmart's like pre-made food because our hotel didn't have anything, so we just got like the rotisserie chicken and the burritos and the ice cream and just like all the junk food. It's just so fun to like look back and think of the things that you did to survive.
Seriously. I'm like thinking like when we go on like little road trips, even now, like we'll do like day trips where we take the kids and like when we lived in Utah, we went to like Bridal Bell Falls, like, right? Like things like that. Or we like drive the Payson Canyon. We used to never pack snacks. We were awful. Like we'd pack like a few, but like they were for the kids. They were not for us. So we always spend $40 at a gas station getting snacks and drinks, and it's like, why do we do this to ourselves?
In your head, you're like, I'm gonna be good. I don't need anything.
Yeah, and then you walk in and you walk out with 3 bags of chips, a Coke, some donuts, like.
Or you hit up Buc-ee's and you drop a
little
penny. Too much there.
Every time we go, fun. I'm like,
how did it add up that quick?
How did we spend $75? Yeah. And then I'm like, this wasn't even that good.
No, Buc-ee's is fun, but they've got you good.
I love Buc-ee's, but the food, there's very few things that are worth the hype.
Their chicken sandwich, I loved.
Okay.
Did you not like it?
I haven't tried it.
And then their Philly cheesesteak burrito, we like every time. Love it. Yeah.
We love the beaver nuggets.
Oh yeah, those are so fun.
So good. Those are worth it.
Those are worth the $5.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
the jerky, I think, is way overpriced.
I don't like it.
It's like really hard.
It's too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't like gum.
Really? You don't like gum?
No. Okay.
I've never heard that.
Side note. I have this weird thing about gum. When I was
Is it a pet peeve?
No. Oh. It's a traumatic experience that has actually scarred me. When I was in the 4th grade, I got this like Easter egg gum. It came in like this little plastic package and it was all these little Easter eggs. My grandpa gave it to me and it's super cheap gum. And when I was chewing it, it like liquefied and then it like got really hard and it like stuck to my teeth really bad and I had to like pick it out because I ate all of it. So I had this giant wad and it was all stuck between my teeth and so like I would reach my finger back and I'm just pulling gum out and it felt like it would never come out.
Ew.
And it's awful. Like I'm like, and from that day I have nightmares about that taste that was in my mouth and like the nightmare is I can never get the gum out.
So funny.
And so like I'm just pulling gum out, pulling gum out.
Endless.
And I wake up and I'm freaked out. Still to this day. Like I had this dream 2 months ago. I can't chew gum.
That's funny. I never knew that about you.
It just like I hate it. So yeah, people are just like, oh, like, you know, gum to make out or get know, fresh breath in high school. And I was like, give me a lifesaver mitt.
Did you ever do those Listerine
like patch?
Yeah,
thing?
they like melted on your mouth.
Yeah.
Those are good.
I loved my go-to was an icebreaker.
Oh yeah.
Those are good.
The minty
ones.
I was gonna say like the tropical ones.
Yeah, those are so good. Now I want some. Come, I'm gonna stop at the gas station now.
Fun. Okay. Yeah. Any other travel stories?
I'm sure there is.
There's so many. Yeah.
Like there was one time when the same time we went to Albuquerque, we actually got pulled over.
Oh,
And it was because the cop ran our plate and it didn't populate on his system. And Las Cruces. Mm-hmm. But they pulled us over because a lot of cars, like I want to say like 80% of the cars in the U.S. that were stolen, like ended up over the border and being sold.
Yeah.
Like something crazy. Like super high amounts of cars were being trafficked from Albuquerque across the border to be sold. And it's like the biggest hotspot in the U.S. for that to happen. And so when our plate didn't show up, they thought it was a fake plate. And so they pulled us over thinking this was a stolen car because it's such a common occurrence. So when he walks up and shines a flashlight at us, you could see his face kind of like puzzled. Like, there are 4 people in the car. They're all young kids. Like, what's going on? And so it was so funny. So he takes Kyle's license and registration. And he comes back. He's like, you guys are good. We just had a system error. And Kyle's like, what do you mean? So he explains that all to us. And we're like, oh, no way. We have this whole conversation with him about car theft. And it was so funny.
How funny.
Yeah.
We love traveling. We'll have to think of some more, like, travel tips, hacks. Yeah. But anyways, those are fun.
That'll be a different one.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Let us know your favorite travel locations. We would like to try new spots.
Yes. Let us know your favorite vacation you've been on. We are looking to plan a good vacation within the U.S. And I feel like we always like to plan, like, exotic ones that we can never actually afford. So, outside of Glacier Lake, Glacier National Monument, whatever that place is in
Montana?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's on my bucket list. But
Mhm.
other than that, tell
That
us.
looks beautiful.
What is a good price?
Yeah.
Let us know. Email us, comment, subscribe, like.
Yeah. All right.
All the things.
Thanks. Bye.